Oh, hey guys, Miss Barrett here, just listening to my favorite song, Taking Chances, by Celine Dion. You know, just thinking about chance, and when it comes to chance in statistics, there's 3 ways to answer questions involving it. So let's jump into the math and talk about chance. The first way is to carry out the experiment many times and calculate the result's relative frequency, aka do the experiment. So this could be kind of a slow process. We're not going to focus on this strategy today. Strategy number 2 is to develop a probability model and use it to calculate a theoretical answer, aka do the math. This can definitely be more of a challenge with complicated questions, so again, not our focus today. Finally, strategy number 3 is to start with a model that in some fashion reflects the truth about the experiment and then develop a procedure for simulating a number of repetitions of the experiment. We call this simulating the experiment. So this is what we're going to do today. Let's go for it. Our problem is involving cereal box prizes. So your favorite sugary cereal has a cheaply made prize in each box. There are 6 different prizes, as you can see listed below. Strange unicorn, the baby dinosaur, a mini nail thingy, some weird Oregon stuffed animals, those gooey hands, and a miniature Furby. There's really no way you can live without having all 6 prizes. So, on average, how many boxes would you have to buy in order to collect all 6 prizes? In order to solve this problem, we want to create a simulation. A simulation is the imitation of chance behavior based on a model that accurately reflects the experiment under consideration. So the following are some steps to follow when doing a simulation. First, we want to identify the model. After that, we want to define a single trial and then define the statistic of interest. We want to repeat the simulation for a large number of trials, and then finally, we want to state our conclusions. So let's go ahead and do that with our cereal problem. So step 1 is to identify the model. So what are the random numbers going to represent with our random number generator? So we are going to use a random number generator to select numbers between 1 and 6. I'm going to do this using my calculator. Each number between 1 and 6 is going to represent a specific type of prize. So number 1 is going to correlate to the first prize, number 2 to the second, and so on. The next step is to define a single trial. So in this step, we want to describe the simulation of just one trial of the experiment. What will the experiment look like in terms of the model? So for us, a trial is going to consist of generating random numbers between 1 and 6 until you have one of each number. So I'm going to use the program on my calculator called RandInt. Looks like this. To get there in my TI-84, I'm going to go ahead and press the math button, scroll over to probability, and it's the 5th one down. So when I select this function and then I put in my range 1 to 6, I can just press enter on the calculator over and over and over again, and the calculator is going to randomly generate numbers 1 through 6. I'm going to continue to do this until I have every number at some point between 1 and 6 generated, and that is going to be a single trial. So the third step, again, is to define the statistic of interest. So this means, what am I going to write down or record at the end of each trial? What's the relevant information from each trial? So in this case, we're interested in recording the total number of values or numbers that were picked to get at least one of each. The list of picks is not as important as the total number of picks. So for example, I just did my first trial, and the numbers I got in my calculator that were randomly generated in this order were 6, 6, 1, 4, 3, 5, 1, 3, 6, and 2. And I stopped here at this point because at this point I have all 6 numbers in some way. I have the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now I know that I'm done with this trial, but like I just said, it's not really the numbers that I care about, it's the total number of picks that it took to get all 6 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The important piece of information here is that it took 10 picks in order to get all 6 numbers. So step 4 is to repeat this simulation for a large number of trials. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the complete list of results for the first 5 trials. And then after that, I'm just going to show the statistic interest for the rest of the trials. Since we'll have a good idea of what's going on with this experiment. The other thing to talk about is that this says a large number of trials. So it's kind of vague. I'm going to go ahead and do 20 trials, but it just depends. There's no set number of trials that you have to do for a simulation. It just depends on the problem. So as I stated in a couple slides earlier, the first trial, I wrote my list down, and it took 10 picks to generate all 6 numbers. So I'm going to do trial number 2 next, and I'm going to show you in real time how long it takes, and then we'll speed up the process for the video. So trial 2. So I am going to use my random number generator on my calculator, randint, and I'm going to begin. My first number is 5, 6, 2, 3 different numbers so far, 3, wow. 1, we just need 4. We got 6, 1, 1, there it is, 4, and I'm going to stop there. Okay, we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I gotta say, it's kind of fun to do this random generator here. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks. All right, so let's continue on, trial number 3. All right, I just did my trial number 3, and I now have all my numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that one was 14 picks. So moving on to trial number 4. Okay, trial number 3 is complete, and I have all my numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one was actually 17 picks. So let's go ahead and move on to trial number 5. The last one that I'm going to show the complete list for. Okay, and once again, I have all my numbers. This time, 10 trials. So here I am, I'm repeating these trials over and over again. I'm simulating the experiment. I'm going to now continue doing this for a total of 20 trials, and I'm going to show you the statistic interest for all of those on my next page. Again, the statistic interest, what we're interested in here, is how many picks that it takes to get all 6 numbers. Okay, so this that I'm circling here in green, those are the numbers I'm interested in. Those are my statistic interest. So let's go on. My first 5 trials, I got 10, 9, 14, 17, and 10. So I'm going to continue to repeat this for the next 15 trials. So here are our results after 15 more trials. For each trial, I again used my random number generator on my calculator, and I just kept recording the numbers until I got all 6. And then from there, I went through and I just recorded the number of picks it took each time in order to get all numbers 1 through 6. Okay guys, so the final step in our simulation is to state our conclusions. This problem we were looking to estimate the average number of cereal boxes required to get all 6 prizes. So what we're going to do right now is take the average number of picks. Okay, so we had a total number of 20 trials. So what we're going to do is we're going to add up the number of picks for all 20 trials and then divide by the number 20 to find the average. All right, let's just make this a little smaller. There we go. So there's all of our trials, all the number of picks from each trial, and we're going to take the sum, divide by 20 to find our average. So the sum is 279 divided by 20, which is about 13.95, almost 14 boxes that you would need to buy in order to get all 6 prizes. So that's it, guys. It's about 14 boxes in order to get all 6 prizes. I thought that that was kind of a fun problem to really use to show what it is to create a simulation. So again, just to conclude, the steps to follow while making a simulation or doing a simulation is to identify the model, to define a single trial, define the statistic of interest, and then repeat that simulation for a large number of trials, and finally, to state your conclusions. I hope that this taught you what a simulation is, how to perform one, and kind of gave you an idea of what one might look like. I look forward to my next video. Have a great day, guys.